Hi guys, welcome to Football with Brownie. Hope you're well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe, and spreading the love in this big bad world of ours. Now, before I go any further, please check our ticker bar below, and I'd be really angry now if you haven't done this. Please like, share, most importantly, subscribe to Football with Brownie. Remember, subscription is free. If you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't forget the notification bell. I keep on telling you. Right. Channel figures are above. And I got a special guest today. Now, the reason I got James Hickey coming in is because I'm thinking of a future. And come the summer, football content creators are going to be struggling with the World Cup in November. So we are going to be following Jamie's club. So, Jamie, thank you very much for joining. I
Thank you.
hope you're all well.
All good. Thank you. Yeah, brilliant to be here. Thank you.
Now, listen, the floor is yours. You're going to have to tell us why you're here and everything else. Go on, take it away.
I suppose, well, kind of talk about Trade United a bit is we were established back in 2019, mainly as a women's side. So the first year only was a women's side. Uh,
Okay.
and there was no senior football in Limerick. So Limerick would have a rich history of having senior football through Limerick FC, Limerick 37, Limerick United. They all would have played. I think it was Limerick 37 played Real Madrid back in the European Cup all the way
Okay.
years ago. And then unfortunately, Limerick FC was the newest, let's say, model, and it went bust. So we had no senior football for 2 years in Limerick. Along came Treaty United. There was always a plan to go senior football again.
Yeah.
And we were actually weren't expecting it until this year. And then last year in February, we got our license granted. So I think it was around mid-February. We got the license granted. We had 3 days. Our manager, Tommy Barr, had 3 days to put a team together. So he had to get 23, 24 lads to sign up for the year.
Jeez.
In 3 days, so you had to have training sessions, trials, blah, 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 contact players, see what their situation was for the year, and try and get them to sign. So all worked out well. We had not a slow start to the season, but obviously it took time to get going. We ended up making the playoffs last year, which is an
That's
unprecedented.
unbelievable.
Yeah, well, for us, yeah, for the first year back, it was something massive for us. And we lost out in the playoff semi-final. We actually lost 3-0 at home in the first leg. We went up to UCD in Dublin. We were 2-0 up on top of them completely. And you'll hear me talking about it later, but the officiating in the league isn't the best, and a poor officiating decision. One of our players got sent off. We ended up losing 2-0 up there. So we definitely could have rattled them if we had 11 on the pitch.
I
But
got you.
this season, back again, leading the women's season started first again, leading with the women, to be fair. And what I will say, the women's team have set the platform for the men's team to come on. But the men's team then came back this year, more time, more preseason. They've got off to a pretty good start. I think we lost 2 in a row there a couple of weeks ago. Now we're on a trot of win of 2, sitting in the playoff places again, which for us is unbelievable because we're an amateur side in a league that's full of like part-time sides, and I think
Well,
there's
I tell you what. Let me just stop you there.
go.
Let me just
Yeah.
stop you there, and then what I'm going to do, look, I'm going to screen share. Just bear with me, guys. I'm going to screen share. Right. This is basically how it is. How it stands at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I've actually watched Cork City many
Mhm.
years ago in a preseason tournament in Dublin. But some of these, maybe it's just me being an anorak in football, but some of these teams that I even remember, and many of them have had European football over the years.
Correct. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so basically, it's in Ireland. It's you've got the equivalent of the Premier League, and this is the Championship, yeah.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
And is it like Scotland? Do you play four times a team 4 times or what?
This
Because
this year, yes. Last year there was 10 teams in it, but
right, I
what you
got you.
see, Bray Wanderers there. So Bray and Cabinteely were in a team at last work. So they were two separate teams last year, but they're after merging this year as Bray Wanderers.
Okay,
So
okay,
with the licensing process here is so difficult, they couldn't put a 10th team in. So if it was 10 teams, you play each other 3 times, it'd be 27 games. And then your
right,
playoffs,
okay.
now you're playing each other 4 times, so it's 32 games and your playoffs.
So you got Bray tonight. Now I know originally I was going to do a watch along. I did, Jamie. I did apologize to you before not able to do it tonight. But we definitely are going to kick off the watch alongs with Athlone. Right now, let's go through. These are so basically the league must have started in January then, and late January, and as you say, two defeats to kick off with.
Yeah, so they were
Finn
our
Harps
pre-season
and
games was Finn Harps and Shamrock Rovers. Our first game was Wexford away, so that was the
ah,
5-1
right, okay,
win.
okay, right, I got you. So it's that right. I got you.
So Finn Harps and Shamrock Rovers are actually in let's say the first division, which would or the
Yeah,
Premier Division, which
yeah,
would be the
yeah.
Premier League. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
let's
we started with a away win to Wexford. None of us expected it going up, to be honest with you, because Wexford is a tough place to go. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, Ferrycarrig Park. It's about 3 hour drive on a bus, 3 hours 15 on a bus, and we went up there and we played very well. And Wexford are kind of gelling a bit as well, and we kind of caught them on the hop. And the goal we conceded was straight from a corner because there was a gale force wind going down. It was -1, I think. There was snow. It was awful, but we came away with a win, so it was brilliant.
You know what. Listening to you and some of the stories, it really does bring back memories of lower league football. Because
Yeah,
I'm a Cardiff fan, and and my hometown is Merthyr Tydfil. I don't know if you maybe before your time, but they were in the lower leagues and doing well in the lower leagues. But some of the stories I can really reiterate, link up to how it was with Merthyr back in the day.
yeah. So, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, like I said, up to Ferrycarrig Park. I think we left at 4 o'clock on a Friday evening. Was up there just before kickoff. Got in, had a great 5-1 victory. We thought everything would be good, and then another tough place to go. Next game against Cove Ramblers, St
Yeah,
Coleman's Park, Lone Cove. Fantastic kind of setup down there. The pitch was awful. The pitch was awful for both sides. I think it was the worst. We've lost games this year, and I think that was the worst game of football I've seen this year because it was just there was no quality because of the pitch, and we
right.
could have nicked it at the end as well. I think if we took a couple of more chances, like shape wise, tactically wise, we definitely would have nicked it, but we still had the chances to win it. So in
Okay.
hindsight, for us again, it's not a bad draw going down there, but it was one we definitely could have taken more points from.
Okay. And then you went to Galway. Now I've been to Galway before.
Mm.
Many years ago, the Galway Music Festival, but I'm talking in the 90s. But yeah, it was a 2-1 defeat there, man. Tell
Yeah,
me.
so went up to M&DC Park. There was actually no bus going up that day. We couldn't get a bus to up because it was a Monday, and with the schools, we'd had to leave about 4 o'clock as well with traffic, etc. And
Okay.
I remember there was an awful crash on the way up, so we were all stuck. And I think they delayed kickoff even by 15 minutes or something to try and let fans get up. But the first half we weren't at the races really, but that came off the back of playing let's say the weekend before. So we played the Friday, and then that was the Monday night. So when you're an amateur squad, you probably don't
Yeah.
get a training session in between then, whereas Galway are a full-time squad, so they would have had a training every day between the
Yeah.
games. Second half we came out and we absolutely dominated them. You couldn't tell who was the amateur side and who was the full-time side, and this is not just
Okay.
this isn't a biased perspective from it. It's just how it went. And we had a chance to even equalise. Our striker Kieran Redhandlin had a chance from about 4 yards out, came to his weak foot. It came at an awkward angle, and he put it over the bar with maybe about 4 minutes to go. So we could have actually nicked a point there. So the
Right.
result, you'd be happy with that second half performance coming down the road. Um,
And and then well, the defeat against Cork,
this one
Cork.
hurt. This one
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
Um, we so there's a nice rivalry between Limerick and Cork and anything hurling, football, rugby, whatever you want to. You have There's a lovely rivalry there. And when we came back last year, we were undefeated against Cork. So we played Cork 3 times last year, if not
Okay.
four. And we were undefeated against them. I think we won one and drew two or something like that. So that was nice to get over them. And then unfortunately this year their kind of full time status showed. There was a big debacle with our pitch this year. I don't know if you've seen any of that or if Dara was telling you any of that. So our pitch this year is run by a, so let's say we're Trade United and we rented off the LEDP. So it's called the
Okay.
Markets Field, and the LEDP are there to run and basically maintain the pitch. So
Well,
that's the market.
this is going on your website. So
Yeah, it's not like that now, I can tell you.
I was just going to say, before I said, well, your pitch looks good, but obviously not. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, um, we so there was a big debacle. We had 2 home games called off before that, which it doesn't show there. We had 2 games called off, Athlone at home and Longford at home, before that Cork City game because of the
Okay.
pitch. So basically what happened is they sanded the pitch at the end of last season. Well, we were told this. So we finished, the playoff was November last year against UCD. They sanded the pitch apparently to make it durable for this year, which is fine. But apparently they did it wrong. So is what we're told. So like I said, it wasn't playable for UCD. Then or for Athlone. Then the FAI got involved. And basically the FAI, who are our governing body, basically came down, gave them suggestions, recommendations, blah, blah, blah. So turns out then we go in for the Longford game. Everybody there. Referee does a pre-match pitch inspection, maybe an hour before kickoff, 45 minutes before kickoff, and calls the game off. Now, Longford to Limerick is about a 2.5 hour drive. So there was Longford fans, the team was down there. And there was already... So the biggest debacle about that, though, is there was a pitch inspection that morning at 10 a.m. Got through that one. There was no rain. Well, there was a little bit of rain between, and it got called off at 6:45 with a 7:45 kickout. So pitch was that was our first home game this season against Cork. The pitch was still, you could still see the sand on the ball. Every time the ball was kicked, sand would fly off it. Everything, the game looked like it was in slow motion, but Cork's quality really showed. They're a full-time squad, so it showed. So yeah, that wasn't nice. I won't lie to you.
I got you.
So
then you went back to winning ways then with a 2-1 home win against Waterford.
To be honest with you, we were all expecting the worst. Well, no, we whenever we lost last season, this group of lads always had this bounce back ability to come out in the next couple of games and get a couple of results. And exactly what they did against Waterford. Brilliant performance. Only for our keeper, actually, Jack Brady. We would have probably taken a draw out of that game. He was absolutely excellent. But like I said, another full-time squad in Waterford. They were in the Premier Division last year. Mark Bertram was actually managing them last year. Towards the end
I know Mark. Yeah, well, I don't know him, but he played against Cardiff for QPR in the playoff final.
So there was a debacle with them last year. So a man named George Forrest owns Waterford, and his son Richie plays, or it's vice versa. His son, who's a Forrest, also plays for Waterford and wasn't getting much game under Mark last year. And before their promotion relegation playoff last year, they sacked Mark, who had literally done wonders for this team. Like, he was a brilliant manager for Waterford. They sacked Mark. They ended up coming down. So they're a full-time team coming down again. So to get a win over them was lovely. Again, you take any victory you can get, so especially over a full-time team was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. And before we go on to the Athlone game, just I'll go back to the standings then. Are Treaty the only amateur team within this league, or is it?
We're the only amateur team in the League of Ireland. The rest are part-time and full-time.
So basically, then you are the Queen's Park of Ireland, then.
Pretty much. Now, Cove are kind of on the border. They're more kind of... There's still money pumped in there, but it's not like we've literally... How Treaty make their money? They have no investors.
Yeah.
It's fan-owned, member-based. So my membership is, I think it's €240 a year. That goes directly into the club. It's spent on the first team expenses. They spend no money on players.
Right.
No players getting a wage. And so I don't know what we have member webinars every month. So the members webinar, basically the club will sit down and tell us everything about the finances if we ask, blah, blah, blah. So we were told last year's profits, I think there was just under 100 grand profit from the club last year or something like that, was pumped back into the underage this year. So there was nothing invested on the first team.
Yeah, I got you.
So that's the way.
Even better, even more interesting, more intrigued really of working with you guys in covering Treaty for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last time out. Then you were home win against Athlone.
Yeah, again another Monday night game. They seem to be a lot more common this year than last year. Last year was all Friday night games, but I suppose this was the rescheduled one from. That Athlone were initially supposed to be our first home game, and then because of the pitch, this was rescheduled for this Monday that just gone. So brilliant win. Athlone are the bottom side at the moment. They've invested in a lot of players this year. They've brought in a lot of players. And they have a new manager in Martin Russell, who used to manage Limerick FC back in the day when we had, I don't know if you know Ogbene playing for Rotherham.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we Limerick FC had a very good team back in the day. Like, we could have made Europe, we could have, and they'd probably still be here if we made Europe that time. But Martin was a manager around that time, and he's managing Athlone now. And they try to play proper football, and sometimes they just get caught out, and that's how they're bottom of the league. They're not really as bad as people think, but
Right, okay.
saying that, when you're playing them, you should be expecting to take 3 points off them.
So, you got Bray tonight.
Yeah,
Away.
horrible place to go.
What are you thinking?
It's a horrible, horrible place to go. It is probably the coldest ground in the League of Ireland. One of them, anyway. So Bray is right up in the seaside,
Right, okay.
in the east of Ireland. So it's a cold place. It's really open. We actually played our first ever game as a club, a men's club. We played against Bray. We drew 0-0. But I take the same tonight because it is a hard place to go. And then we have Athlone Friday again. So if you could take 4 points from this week, you'd be happy.
Yeah, no problem at all. Right, with regarding, because basically we're going to be covering you with watch-alongs, and the majority of people, well, I would say, could well be in the UK. So, a lot of people prefer to have watch-alongs and watch the game at the same time. So there are links, aren't there? I'm aware there are links, and people can actually watch the game live. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a system put in place last year called LOI TV, which is League of Ireland TV.
Okay.
So basically, what it was is, last year it was a €5 game if you weren't a member of a club. So last year, a lot of the club's memberships packages included this LOI TV that you got for free with the membership. Now,
Right.
this year, for whatever reason, the LOI TV have disbanded really that kind of idea from the clubs, so you have to buy them separately now, and I think it's €7 a game to watch the games.
Okay.
Or what you can do is, if you don't want to watch it, or you don't want to spend the €7 to watch it alongside the stream, they do a highlight show on a Monday night now for free.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'd be doing the watch along, watching it. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's £10 for Cardiff to watch Cardiff on a stream. I mean,
Yeah.
€7. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, what would that be? That'd be about £5, isn't it? Really?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, it would be about £5. Yeah, I suppose. Look, this year there was a bit of discontent with it because last year you got it in your members package, which incentivizes more people to become a member of their club, which is a massive thing, especially for a club like Treaty. For the Galways, for the Corks, who have a bit of money behind them, it doesn't matter too much. But for a club like Treaty, the members, like, the money we bring in for membership is what keeps the club running, like, you know. So
yeah, no, I get that. Okay, no worries. You know what? I'm so bloody looking forward to it now. I'm gutted. I'm bloody going out for a proxy birthday party tonight. But, I'm sorry. I can't. Hang on. Let's end the screen. I can't get out of it. I'll be honest with you. I can't get out of it, man. Okay, so well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Did you mention, Jamie, a couple of days ago that be able to get maybe a couple of players or a manager on or something?
Well, yeah. So, like, with our podcast, the Talk is Really podcast, which is where you contacted us through.
Hang on. What was the name of the podcast? I'm giving you a plug here. Come on, get it.
The Talk is Treaty podcast. So it's myself.
The Talk is Treaty podcast. No worries.
So myself, Kevin Kiley, who couldn't make it, and Darren Noonan, who the three of us sit down and basically spout absolute rubbish for an hour every week, or less than an hour, but it's all things Treaty. So you have a lot of general podcasts in the League of Ireland. Ours is dedicated to just Treaty United.
Okay.
And if you search us up on Spotify from last year, we have a load of podcasts with players, with Tommy himself, the manager. They're all very accommodating when they can be, you know. There's no problem if you check as Treaty United's social media, or people who are tagging Treaty and stuff after games. It's literally the manager talking, or players talking to up-and-coming people who want to be journalists, who want to be presenters, who want to be this and that. Yeah. So they're very good with us, especially with the fans as well. Like I said, we're fans first and foremost before anything else. And after games, they'll spend 5 minutes, sometimes, you know, standing, talking to us, cheering us as we cheer them. And, you know, so there's a very interpersonal touch between the players and fans, I suppose, and supporters.
Well, let's. I'm looking forward. Well, let's extend the arm of friendship, really, from Football with Brownie to the Talk of Treaty podcast, and take it from there, my friend.
100%, definitely, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Good man. Right, I'm going because I got to knock his aircon off now because it's absolutely freezing. But I tell you what, Jamie, many thanks for joining. I know that you were pushed for time, and I'm really looking forward to it. So next week, Athlone United home.
Athlone,
Big
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Come
Another
on.
away day, another away day. That's what we love is the away days. So
No worries. Well, I tell you what, maybe in a couple of days, either yourself or one of your colleagues, we can just have an update how tonight's game went, and
100%,
then
yeah.
and then take it from there.
Definitely, 100%, and we'll definitely promote you as much as we can. We'll promote ourselves, and we'll keep building together.
No worries. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
You
Much
take care
appreciated.
and have a good weekend, my friend.
You too. Thank you. Enjoy your party.
Bye bye. Oh, I will. Bye bye.